Greetings, everyone. In this video, we want to briefly discuss how one should write a letter to the Department of Home Affairs if you do not qualify to move to other visas. We have said in the previous videos that it is important that you respond to the letter that was written to you, two letters actually, that were written to you by the Department of Home Affairs. The first one was December, January. The last one was somewhere in May, June. So most people did not respond to those letters, and we said there is need to create a one-on-one discussion between the holder of ZEP who feels that they do not qualify and also the Department of Home Affairs. So it's important that you state your situation. We try to define, but a lot of people are still asking us on how to write a letter. What is important to note in the letter? Because people came at different times in South Africa, and people were in different documents. Some were having other documents like Aslam documents. Some were having were not documented at all. So it is important to state that to state the period that you have been in South Africa. Say for instance, you received your Aslam document in 2002, because we know that the first Aslam document to be issued was in May 2002. Say you received it at that time, and then 8 years later, you received the ZEP. Meaning, if you count the 12 years that you have spent under special permits and the 8 years you spent under the Aslam document, it brings to about 20 years. I think my arithmetics is still correct. It brings to about 20 years. So it's important to then state that you have been in the country for 20 years. State the ages of your children if your children are born in South Africa. For instance, you remember we once did a video on the court judgment on children born in South Africa to migrants. And we did explain that if a child is born to a migrant, they assume the citizenship of their parents. They go to the consulate, get a birth certificate where it will be indicated that the child is born in South Africa, but is Zimbabwean, in the case of Zimbabweans. But when that child is a major, is above 17, they then qualify to apply for a citizenship in South Africa. Because they are born in South Africa, they have spent, maybe they are now 19 years. So it's important to state in the letter that you are writing to the Department of Home Affairs to say, I arrived in South Africa, whether late in 2001, in 2002, I was issued with an Aslam document. I kept on renewing it for 8 years. When the amnesty was declared, and those that he had Aslams were asked to come forward to submit, and in exchange for a 4-year permit, as it were, at the time, you indicate that, so that it becomes easier when you put your story across. Because it's important that you get assisted by the department, because we are trying all this so that people get assisted. We think it will not just be enough to say, I am Ngabuto Mapena, ZEP number, I do not qualify, I work as a domestic worker. Please assist me on how I should move to another visa. We think, on reflection, we think this might not be enough. We have been advising others to do this, but on reflection, we think this is not enough. But it is important to state, like we said, the job that you do, to state that you have been in the country for these years, because I know that there are people that have been in South Africa on special permits for 20 years, others more than 20 years. But of course, we understand that the special permits were only for a period of 12 years. So we are trying our level best so that at least there's this dialogue between the holder of ZEP and the department, so that we try and show that some people have been here longer. We're not saying they are going to change their position, but we think they are human enough to say, okay, we understand your case. This is how we think we can assist you. We are not hoping that they will simply say, no, we don't want to hear your story. But the fact that they say in the letter that they wrote to everyone, to say, please, if you have questions or queries, please speak to us. This is what the letters have said. And we think this is what needs to be highlighted when one engages the Department of Home Affairs. There are others who are, of course, South Africans, who are saying, Comrade Mapena, why do you always talk on behalf of the holders of special permits? I come from a leftist tradition. These are workers. They are victims of a collapsed economy. It is not them who collapsed the economy. They are victims. So it's unfortunate that when our governments collapse the economies, whether through corruption, in South Africa, there's a talk of a state capture. When all this happens, the victims are ordinary people. So the Zimbabwean economy collapsed not because it was the ordinary people that collapsed. No, it is the politicians, either through corruption or bad policies that they implement. And we all know that Zimbabweans have always been participating in the electoral process. I always hear when people write in the comment section to say, no, just take your people, go and vote in Zimbabwe. People have been voting. And we all know that elections have been rigged in Zimbabwe. Earlier on, we recorded a video by the Zimbabwe Catholic bishops where they are pointing out the challenges that Zimbabweans are going through, economically and politically. And Zimbabweans are powerless. So some of us who are progressive, some of us from the left tradition, while we understand the plight of South Africans, we cannot then throw our hands to migrants from Zimbabwe in the main, who are victims of a collapsed economy, who are victims of a neoliberal policies in Zimbabwe that contributed to the collapse of the economy. So we're doing this because these are victims. And in our teachings from the left tradition is that we must always give solidarity to the weak. So the people of low skill, many of whom are holders of ZEP, they are the weak and they need our solidarity. So in solidarity with the holders of ZEP who will not qualify, this is why we keep on recording these videos so that at least they qualify when 2023 comes, January 2023, they are not arrested, thrown into the back of a van, taken to Lindela for deportation. So we have only 4 months or so left before the special permits expire. So it is our duty as us from the left tradition that we assist. It should not only be us Zimbabweans, by the way. It should be South Africans, it should be other Africans and other progressive individuals across the globe and organizations to say, wait a minute, we have people that are of low skill, that are holders of Zimbabwe exemption permits, that will not qualify to move to other visas. They have school-going children in South Africa. They have stayed in the country for 20 years or so, but they are expected to go back because they do not qualify. So this is why we are doing this in line with the resolution or with the decision of the South African cabinet to say people should move to other visas. But we have noted that others will not be able to move to other visas. Hence, we are trying our level best to say the holder of a ZEP should communicate with the Department of Home Affairs. This is why we're advising to say, what is it that one must write in the letter? So we expect revolutionaries out there to assist. And as I'm saying that, we clearly understand we don't need to be preached to about the economic conditions of the South Africans. We are very much aware of that. But we also have an obligation to assist again these weak individuals who happen to be holders of ZEP. They are unable to move to other visas. It is not their fault that in 1991 the Zimbabwean government implemented economic structural adjustment program. It is not their fault that our resources continue to be looted in Zimbabwe. It is not their fault. They are weak. They left the country because they could not stand up against the Zimbabwean government. They came to work in South Africa. And they can't face that regime because we know what happens. So let us assist where possible those that are holders of ZEP so that they submit correct information to the Department of Home Affairs and they see if the department can go through these correspondences and see if there can be a way they can accommodate these holders of ZEP who do not qualify, many of whom are women, are domestic workers for that matter. And as I'm saying, as I conclude that we know, we don't have to be preached to, we know the levels of unemployment in South Africa, we know poverty, inequality, we know about all those. But as I'm saying, we are faced with the weak, and if we can't speak for the weak, if we cannot stand for the weak, who do we stand with? Please like this video, circulate to your contacts, and please do subscribe to this YouTube channel. Otherwise, Amandla Comrades.